Welcome to Mystic Revolution. Today we're going to talk about owning your power and your will.
This is Mystic Revolution with Susana and Wendy. We are in season 2, and this is mastering our energy.
Before we get started, let's do our little coming together meditation. So go ahead and just close your eyes and allow yourself to take a nice deep breath in, deep down into your belly, and exhale out. And just let yourself settle into yourself. Let the energy of your day, any energy about expectations of the day, let them just melt away. And if you like, you can envision, imagine, tune into the idea of a beautiful bright sun above your head, or a star, and let the shimmering rays of that fall down on you, flow down on you, and help release anything that is not serving you in this moment. As that's happening, you can let yourself tune into your connection to the earth. Let's just say hello to our feet for a second. They carry us around all over the place on this lovely earth, and they don't get a lot of attention. And even if you have a disability in your movement, your feet, tuning into your feet can help you get connected to the ground below, the earth below. All right, let's just take another nice deep breath in and a big sigh out. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And we can see lovely Wendy when our eyes are open. There she is. And I like to joke that Wendy is our mobile mystic on the team, because she's been traveling around all over the place, even as we've been recording these episodes. Anyway, as someone who really understands owning your power and owning your free will, and in that owning, directing your life in ways that bring you a lot of joy and freedom, I'd love to hear from the mobile mystic some of her thoughts on that, because you're living it fully and completely.
Yeah, it's
From
pretty
my
fun.
perspective.
Yes. So yeah, we've been going through the 7 keys of mastery from within.
Yeah.
And recently we talked about neutrality, certainty, and
Amusement.
amusement. That's
Yes.
it. And so I want to start with power, true spiritual power or
Yeah.
empowerment. And I just want to start by saying what a difference it can make for us. So when I'm not in the flow of spiritual power, I go into effort. I need to do things. I need to have things. I need to have things happen. And if I'm not in the flow of spiritual power, I'm going into effort. I'm going into striving. I'm going into scraping along. Like, it's not ease. It's not fun. It's not rest.
Yeah, it's like pushing. It's like
pushing.
it's pushing
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, controlling and running, force,
and forcing things.
force. Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe even fighting.
Yeah. Maybe
Right?
even
Because we
fighting.
need stuff. We need to go and do and have and be and eat and whatever. So, but when we're in the flow of spiritual power, it's like being in a river instead of just trying so hard to get someplace, the river can just take me and I can like be on my like little raft with an umbrella drink or something. It can be so much easier.
Yeah. Now, I totally agree with you, but I also know there are arguments against this idea around, right? Well, there's stuff I have to do. We have to do things to survive, to make money, and some of it is, we don't necessarily love, and some of it can feel really hard. How does this idea of owning your true power, you know, help with that or work with that?
Right. Well, everything that we talk about here, I mean, a lot of it sounds like pie in the sky, doesn't it? I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds really good. Oh, that'd be nice. How good for you. So glad for
Yes,
you. Now I have to go back to the
absolutely.
mine.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
right? Um, it's it's an energy, it's a blessing that we can tune into, the stuff that we're going to be talking about, the power and the will.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and it's a practice. And some people, they tune into the blessing and they start to have results quite easily. And others of us are like, that's nice, but it's not. And that takes something.
Hmm.
And I just want to say that when I started this practice, I had so much pain. I don't know if I said this before, but this contextualizes. I had so much pain. I could not meditate on my own. I couldn't do almost anything except to ground a little, center a little, and let in out a little pain,
Yeah.
drop by drop by drop. We do this with a letting roses go, but I would just let roses all day and all night. I'd be
Yeah.
letting go of drops of pain. And then after about a year, then I could start to be able to meditate on my own.
Yes.
Beside, like I could do this when I was walking down the street, I could do it when I was watching a movie or something. I couldn't just sit there in that much pain and do this. I just want to like really contextualize it, like really took something. And I know it did
Yeah.
for you too, Susanna.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like it came on a silver platter. It is a gift and it's wonderful, but I couldn't let it in until I could.
Yeah. I couldn't let it in until I could. And it was only seeing other people who I knew, I sort of knew the before and the after, um, have this kind of greater ease in their life.
Yeah.
And just the I guess the promise of it that sort of kept me going in the practice and working through all the stuff,
Yes, I
and
do.
well, I know I know you don't. But and the thing about it is, and it's something that I know you work with your clients on as well, it's the idea, if you decide you want to move this way, just in doing it a little bit each day,
Yeah.
like you will notice results over a week, over 2 weeks, over, it might be small increments or it might just be like a huge breakthrough. And, this
Yeah.
process to that, it can happen in fits and starts, or it can just be like,
Yeah.
right, jumping to a new dimension, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and like I don't want to make it sound like, oh my gosh, it has to take, everybody a year or
yeah,
whatever. I was really stuck and I
yeah,
was I was dying,
yeah,
which is the only reason I was willing to change. You know,
right, yeah, I
it took a
understand.
lot. So so but we can get a little leverage. That's what this system does so well. It gets some leverage. And then levers are really in physics, they have very strong action for what we can't lift it, but oh, then we can lever it. So I
Yeah,
just want to encourage about that. Um, so what we're talking about is allowing ourselves, ask and receive, to be in the flow of the power of life. And you could say in the flow of God, you can say in the flow of life, you can say in the flow of spirit, like whatever words,
vital
but
force energy.
vital force energy,
Mhm.
whatever it is, it's putting gas in the gas tank.
Yeah,
And, you can have the best car in the world, but pushing it around is a pain in the neck.
yeah,
But you get some gas in there, it's like pretty fun. And that's what we're talking about. Can we get some gas in the gas tank?
Yeah.
Um, and so allowing that life force, that potency of, you could call it the potency of love or the potency of truth, flowing through us makes night into day.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
the um the practice that we've been talking about of living from the inside out, right? The power, the empowerment comes from within and tuning into life force around rather than exerting power out, right?
Yes.
And trying to find a way out there to make the movement, make the progress,
Right.
make the things happen. It comes from within. And
Right.
in standing in that, we become a force rather
Yes.
than like imposing force, we become a force.
Yes. Yes. And it's the life within us. So we
Yeah.
don't have to like, we don't have to be the Hulk or something, you know?
No, not at all.
We just have to get out of the way and
Yeah.
let the wind move the sail,
Mhm.
is a good way to say it. And so I think a whole lot of us, we were trained in effort. It's like, oh, good effort. Like even in sports, it's like, well, that was a good try. It's just like good effort. It's like, that's nice, but how about we just do or not do? There is no try,
Mm.
as Yoda said. And that is accessed in part by allowing the wind to blow our sail instead of paddling. And it's also accessed by letting go of our natural effort. And the illustration that I like to give in classes is um, I'm late for a meeting and I'm at a red light and I'm gripping the steering wheel and I'm trying to go. Like there's this within me. That's how it
Mhm.
feels. Effort feels like I'm trying to make the gas go, but I have to be stopped or I am
Yeah.
stopped. And then when I can go still, it's like, oh, these people and everything's wrong. Like it's all so very and
Yeah.
that is effort. And that's not helping me go any faster.
No.
Right. That's the kind of effort I'm talking about. It's all this wasted horribleness within
Yeah.
us and energy just poured out waste that
Yeah.
isn't helping anything.
No.
Um, so yes, if I need to move a pile of dirt from here to there, it's going to take work. It's going to take movement. But while I'm doing that, am I like, "Blah," or am I like, whistle while I work, la 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 la, like it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, and if you aren't, a singer or a whistler, right? Like there's like whatever it is, the even focusing on the movement of the dirt, right? And well, it goes back to those, what chop wood carry water in the present moment. It's being present and in that, like you almost automatically fall into that different state out of the effort, right?
Mhm. Get into
Yeah.
flow. I mean, there's been talk, it's getting old now, but, being in the flow and just enjoying the
Yeah.
presence and the movement and allowing inside there's a momentum instead of like the
Yes.
river's flowing instead of I'm making it all happen with
Yeah.
what? What? My mind, my emotions, they're just annoying me. Um,
Yeah.
so la 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 la.
Hmm.
Yeah, so all this unlocks our deep natural strength, our deep natural courage, our deep natural unstoppability and inexorability. Like we
Yeah.
access a kind of strength and courage in this flow of divine power, or whatever you want to call it, that we didn't have before.
Totally.
Mhm.
Totally. And I do want to circle back to your singing that song and whistling because it's great. And like singing, sound can actually help uh, activate this. Singing helps activate this within you. And that could be another topic because I know you and I both love to sing, but it's such a great little addition to help you tap into this and be in the flow of that
Yes.
movement.
Yeah, well, the
Yeah.
vibration is just another way to say blessing is another way to say, right? It's like,
Yeah.
can we be in that vibration or those waves or whatever you want to say?
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of ways
Absolutely.
to say it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I do, oh, I forgot. I think the most important conversation to have about this is that power has such a bad rap for
Mm.
good reasons,
Yeah.
right? Like I wouldn't even think about wanting any power until I was about 30 because I was just like, power sucks. Power did bad things to me and lots of bad things in the world, and I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Um, but that wasn't true spiritual power. That was forced. That was out of control. Uh, Someone trying to get what they needed, or out of control emotion or whatever.
Out of control emotion, out of whatever trauma or
Yeah,
ego
right,
or whatever. And
right.
it's yeah, that's not what
Yeah,
we're talking about at all.
we're not, and like just that disambiguation makes such a huge difference. Okay,
Yes.
all the bad things, everything, all the bad things are over here in force. Physical force. All if there's good, positive things happening, they're over here in the spiritual power. Um, and can we grow this pile? Can we start to allow the power? Because way before this practice that we share, I started thinking to myself, well, how can I get what I need? How can I stand for other people getting for what they need? How can I help
Mhm.
them, get access to the light and the resources? And that takes empowerment.
Yeah.
And so that whole conversation can really take something. And all this is spiritual practice, and all this requires actually doing it, not just talking about it. Um, and especially, I think moving the blocks too. I don't want anything to do with that horrible power stuff. That's a good place to start.
Yeah. And um moving from, I mean, a lifetime of feeling powerless and stepping into a place where you actually feel powerful or like you have a right to um say or do things. I mean, that can be a huge step for people. I mean, it was certainly part of my journey, and it really is, as you say, allowing our own deep, natural, innate strength, the system to come online, to have space. I know we're going to talk a lot more, but it's time for a little break.
Yay!
Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Hey friends, Susanna and I want to remind you that we offer a Mystic Revolution meditation. It's the first Tuesdays at 4:30 Pacific. Please come as our guest. You can see our website for the link. And thank you for playing with us.
Raise your vibration and energize your life with specialized Fibonacci tuning forks that deepen meditations and empower self-healing. Get your vibrational sound tools for personal enhancement at energybodytuners.com.
And welcome back. Wendy and I have been talking about owning your power and owning your true power in an energetic sense, in a spiritual sense, not through force or not out of ego or emotion, extreme emotion. And sort of dovetailing with the idea of opening to your own true power comes the concept of free will. Wendy, do you want to talk about free will and what it means to you?
Yes, and it's both of these for me. I read through the solar plexus chakra, and they're actually in some ways the same thing. But it helps, I think, in our human brains to make it separate. So this whole other subject is being really who we are in free will. And so part of it is about allowing permission, freedom, not necessarily permission from anywhere unless we need it. Like if I have a relationship with the divine that says I need permission, that's great. But can I just have it? Can I allow it? Permission to be me, do me, make my impact. Freedom to choose, freedom to be in alignment with my source and my way, free to have my own identity, etc. On and on and on. That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And what I found is that many of us give away a lot or a little of our free will. I believe it's the second most important gift that we have besides life. We have the freedom to choose as we choose. And a lot of us give that away a little or a lot to get through our youth or get what we want.
Yes.
I found a lot of times it's to survive
Yes.
and or belong.
Yep.
Those are big levers
Big
about
ones.
I don't really need this free will. I'd rather belong. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's very common when we're young, and we can regain, we can change the agreements, we can change the patterns, and we can get our free will back. It's a huge part of what we do in our work, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think for a long time, I didn't even understand that I had that. I didn't understand what free will meant. I didn't understand that I had the ability or the right to it. And it was sort of this real epiphany when I started to understand that um, like we can live. I know this sounds obvious, but that in living from the inside out, we are allowing all that we are as we are to be okay. And in that, then we have the freedom to choose. And we get to enjoy, I mean, the rights and privileges of being a human, not just going through the motions or doing surface stuff or, jumping through the hoops that you're supposed to do
Mhm.
in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, there's you've talked about the difference between sort of pure freedom and pure freedom and immature freedom.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Well, some of it is some of the concerns about freedom are just, concerns of wanting to control people.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll be too much, acting out, licentiousness. There'll be, I don't want people having sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever. Like, so a
Yeah.
lot of it is trying to keep other people down or
Yep.
ourselves. Oh my gosh, if I'm free, then I don't know what I'll do. But the
Yeah.
thing is, that's like kind of a childish thing that we get over really fast because we have to get up and go to work in the morning. We have to get up and take care of the kids. We have to, right? It's just like, I'm not going to stay up till 4 in the morning because I can,
Mhm.
because I have choosing to do other things with my life.
Yeah.
So that's the mature. It's like, can I, sure. So fine,
So
drugs,
tell me
sex, rock
about
and roll,
so tell
whatever.
me
But it's like,
about free will in
it's
having to
so
get up in the morning and go to work.
boring.
You know what I
It's
mean?
getting to get up in the morning, go to work. I was so
Yeah.
ill for so long. I couldn't work for, I don't know, so long.
Yeah.
And it's a privilege to get up and go to work. It's
Yeah.
like from free will, it's like, well, what do I want to do? I said to pick my nose, eat bonbons all day. That gets boring in about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Really. It really does. It's like oh, I get to contribute. I get to I get to sing my song that no one else can sing. That is such a privilege. That's what I'm talking about with the mature free will. We can get over all the shoulds and all the, neener, neener. I get to step out of the box and like actually start to create and like ring my own bell.
And I think that's important when we look at things like, well, I have to go to work, I have to pay all these bills, and everything seems intense and hard. And you can ring your own bell. You can be in your free will even as you are doing these things.
Yeah.
And, you know, what I found is that the more I allow that to be a driver rather than, oh God, I got to get up and freaking do this awful thing, the more things start to open up in ways that support me and my power. Is that
Yeah.
true for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
A- And it just sort of happens sometimes unexpectedly and in ways that I could never have anticipated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I have the free will. It's like, okay, so why do I have to get up at that time? Can I change my schedule? Why do I need so much money? Do I really want the mortgage that high? Do I really we can open up all the questions together with, whoever, our family or whatever. But
Mhm.
we could I've liquidated most of my stuff. It's like
Yeah.
amazing. So much I don't have to do.
Yeah.
Um, and still am I responsible adult. So another thing about maturing in our free will is releasing the driving forces underneath the programming, the socialization, different theories, thoughts, feelings, animal drives, impulses, you know, um, agreements that aren't me,
Yeah.
facades and ways of being that aren't really me, but they're driving me. And like so that's all part of the deconstruction
Yes.
of the old and allowing the true will to bloom.
Right. And that, when that starts to happen, it's normal to have feelings of like uncertainty or a little even fear, like who am I without those things?
Totally.
um and but it's only until we can do that um I'm just going to say the purity of our own innate power can start to shine through.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very exciting, and there's layer after layer. And another thing, another thing that is so tied for so many of us, I said, for to survive and to belong, it's like, oh, if I stop, I'll give you an example. I've always been a great cook. I've been doing it since like before my teens for my family and then, whoever my friends and my partner. And this summer I haven't been cooking. I don't know what happened. I just like was like, I'm just not going to cook. I'm going to work and I'm going to hike and that's it.
Mhm.
And there's so many people that are like, well, I have to make dinner for my husband, for my partner. It's just like I don't actually. I don't. And he can manage to feed himself fine, which he always has. But like this is just one example, right? It's just like I'm having this time out about cooking. I don't have to cook. I love to cook, but not this summer, not this
Yeah.
fall. And it's like, can I allow that shift? And can my family allow that shift? And it's not my responsibility.
Yeah, well, I think taking that one step further, there are a lot of things that I'll just use myself an example that I felt I had to do to take care of for myself and for others. And that became it's sort of becoming a fixer out in the world rather than
Yeah.
tending to yourself. And that's just a way to distract yourself from not doing the process of kind of tuning into your own power. Um, and people want to help other people and people want to fix things. And I think that's a beautiful sentiment. And sometimes you have to look and see if whether you're actually helping or whether it's a distraction
Yeah.
for yourself in claiming your own power and being acting in your own free will. What I found is that sometimes I was helping, but other times I wasn't helping, and my stepping in to try and fix something was disempowering someone else,
Yeah.
right? Not allowing them to step into their own power around a particular thing. So just a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
story about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody can find new ways of relating. I
Yeah.
bring up the cooking thing because, I come from a long line of women who like have to do it and like feel like if they don't, they're not going to be chosen.
Right.
And
Or they're a
and
bad wife or a
I
bad
didn't
mother.
yeah. And I didn't
Yeah.
even like know I had that. I didn't know I had it until I let it go. And it's just like, I don't really have to do this. We
Yeah.
could just eat salad and whatever. And
Yeah.
it I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it's just from where I come from, it's this huge thing of I can change and the system can change and it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. So
Yeah.
anyway, we can
Absolutely.
we can keep letting ourselves unveil and be in free will.
Yes, we can. Well, with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us for this conversation. And before we close, let's just do a little meditation out. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of us coming together to have these conversations and to start thinking about these things. And as you breathe in and breathe out, just allow what resonates with you to sort of settle in and just let the rest go. Just let the rest go. And Wendy was talking about this, the third chakra or the solar plexus. Just take a moment to tune into that. The idea of a beautiful ball of light right there in your core, right below your rib cage, below your heart. And you can envision it as your inner sun, the solar plexus. And see if you can let that sun get bigger and brighter. And allow this energy to start moving into other parts of your body. This inner strength, this inner core strength. This center really governs your power, your personal power. So when we tune into it and we just take a moment to allow the possibility that we have a right to access our inner power, we have a right to free will. It opens up so much. And you can allow the solar plexus energy to move up into your heart, knowing that true power, true inner power, and free will is a compassionate thing. It's not an imposing thing. It's an expansive thing. It's not a diminishing thing. Let's take a nice deep breath into that. And a big sigh out. And with that, we look forward to seeing you next time on Mystic Revolution.
And that concludes this portion of Mystic Revolution. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to get notified of new content. Don't forget to like and share. Join the Mystic Revolution. Click on the link in the description to get more information or visit themysticrevolution.com. Another creative art production by Retro Earth Studio.
This series is really for you if you have mystic sensibilities or interests, or if you've been practicing forever. This is a place for all of us to join together